Hello, everybody. This is your host, Jesse White here. You are listening to another episode of the Needless Potatoes podcast. How's everybody doing? How did your Thanksgiving go? How's your holidays going? Good. Hopefully, it's going great. Thanks for joining me again on the podcast. For today's episode, we have a very special guest. We have the Tulsa-based band Enslaved by Fear. Enslaved by Fear out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Them and I, we sit down and we talk about how the band started, the Rocklahoma shows, what they're working on, the new projects, their old projects, little ins and outs of everything Enslaved by Fear. I really think that you'll like it. I really enjoyed sitting down and talking with these guys. They're super great to talk to, and in an even better band. Kind of messed that up. Sorry there. But you can check them out on Spotify. You can like them on Facebook. You can follow them on Instagram. You can check them out on YouTube. Literally everywhere. You can check them out. But if you would like to check them out in person, they will be at Badass Renee's this Saturday. Show starts at 7. And they are joined with, it looks like, let me pull everything up. Looks like Spook, Pay the Ghost, and Violent Victim. So tomorrow night at Badass Renee's in Tulsa with Spook, Pay the Ghost, Violent Victim. Show starts at 7. You can check them out. Show is free, by the way. So definitely head over there, check them out. Let them know what you think. Let them know that we sent you over there. If you had heard about the show prior, well, you couldn't lie to them. No, don't lie to them. Don't lie to anybody. But you guys have a great weekend. Thanks again for joining me. Like I said previous, we will try to get these out just whenever we can. I know things have been a little bit hectic, and I apologize about that. But here we are. Fret no more. You guys have a killer weekend. We'll see you next time and the time after that. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. This is, once again, Jesse White here of the Needless Potatoes podcast. We're back with season 2. So we back. My guests today are the powerful, the terrifying, the charming, Enslaved by Fear of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Everybody introduce yourself. Maybe one at a time. That was like loud music or something.
I'm Ben. I play the drums.
I'm Tony. I play the bass. Not anymore. You don't.
I play the throat.
That was reflex kicking in. I'm the vocalist now. We recently had a lineup change. We switched from bass to vocals. So that is so funny. Oh, this podcast is going off perfect.
Hell yeah.
My name is Cooper. I play guitar.
My name is Seth.
Okay.
What do you play, Seth?
No.
Well,
Don't.
I play automaton.
Don't mind him. That's Tristan. He plays guitar.
Oh.
And my name is Gables, and I play the bass.
Yeah, that one does.
Well, all right. Very cool. So, whole gang's here. So, this is a question literally for any of you. Who came up with the name Enslaved by Fear and why?
I was like 14 and it sounded cool.
Well, all right. Hey.
I was like 16 and I hated it.
No one liked it. No one wanted us to keep it, but like I was dead
Really?
set.
I always thought the band name was cool. Like I remember when I first heard of you guys. I mean, because I haven't been in the band for a long time. I'm still sort of new. When I heard the band name, I thought it was a cool name. So,
well, whenever they were like enslaved by fear, I was like, I don't want to be enslaved by fear. I had all kinds of suggestions, but they weren't any better.
what kind of jokes do you get about the name? Do people ask you if you're enslaved by fear?
We actually
They
just make
have.
fun of ourselves.
But, yeah.
Okay, well, I see. That's not bad for a band name though, because I've heard worse band names.
Oh yeah.
True.
You know,
When we get the cool abbreviation EXF is.
there you
Yeah.
go. EXXXXX.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, very cool. So, um, how did this current lineup come to be? I know that Cooper's new,
So is
but who's been in the band the longest?
Tristan and Tony have definitely been the longest members. Quick bit of backstory. Tristan, Tony, and myself are all biological brothers. So
Oh, very cool.
yeah, I'm the slightly,
Old
barely,
one.
just a little bit older brother.
no,
The
he's,
only
so
one
they-
in his 30s.
he's the dad of the band.
uh, so they started the band, and then later on asked if I would join because they were tired of playing in the bedroom.
Okay.
So I mean, I would consider. I mean, the brothers are like the original members of the band.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I mean, I say I'm new. I mean, I've been in the band for about a year and a half. Gabe is like brand new. So
Yeah, like months in.
So, how did you guys get in touch with Cooper to be in the band?
So that's a much shorter story. Heard of us at a cool show, and come to find out I knew his aunt.
Okay.
it was okay. So like years ago, the band Trivium came through Tulsa, and they're one of my favorite bands. They're playing the Vanguard, and it was a tour where they were they're only doing locals at every show. Um,
Mhm.
and Enslaved by Fear was one of those bands. And then fast forward a couple of years, I move up to Tulsa, and my aunt that I was living with for a little bit while I was up here, she says, "Hey, we need to get in contact with Ben. He's a drummer for Enslaved by Fear." So I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that band." And it was just so I shot him a friend request or whatever. And what happened was I didn't know they were looking for another guitar player. I was thinking it would just be a connection, and then bless you. And then so I just seen a post that Ben had made saying that they're looking for another guitar player. So
So
yeah, I
you're
just shot.
you're active on your social media though. We didn't know we were looking for a guitar player until the day before you responded. We're like, let's go ahead and put our feelers out and maybe get rid of our backtracks and bring on a second guitarist. And so we made that post, and it wasn't up for 24 hours before people was like, hey, I'm interested. And I was like, do you suck and are you legal to go to a bar? And he's like,
Mhm.
I'm legal and I don't suck. And so he sent me he had some YouTube videos up that he sent me. I'm like, wow, this guy really doesn't suck. And it was pretty much all downhill from there. Like we met and hung out, and I think twice before we're like, all right, come to practice. Let's see what happens. And he's just
Okay.
been a
So,
shoe-in, turned into just another little brother.
right. So basically, it sounds like Cooper was stalking you guys a little bit. Then he just happened to throw the feelers out, and there he is.
Yeah, it took no time at all, and it has been a beautiful whirlwind ever since. Have you
Beautiful
seen his
world.
hair? Have you seen his
I
hair?
have.
Those
I,
hair whips, man.
there used to be a famous picture of Cooper when he was like mid hair whip, and it was just like it perfectly encapsulated all the energy that is Cooper.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it was like
you
that
can
big.
find it on the interweb somewhere. It's a Chris Coffee photo. So
Mhm.
I think it was. I don't know if it's Oberon or Armo's Martyr. One of those two. There, it was one of those. So the band that was playing.
Mm. I think it was Our Mother's Martyr. I think it was that show.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, because Cooper used to. I know Cooper because he used to come to all of my shows that I would have in Ada,
sure
and
would.
yeah, he would come to every one. Oh, because they were all ages, and he wasn't 21 at the time, but he would show up anyways.
Well, yeah,
So-
I mean, because those shows you would put on, it was kind of an eye opener for me because living in Ada, I didn't have like anyone like shared my music taste, and then all of a sudden I found out like with like Oberon and Armage Martyr, I was like, oh, there are bands in this town that do play metal, and so it's cool that I could actually go to a show in my hometown. The fact that I was able to do that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, very. Yeah, the it was. It's weird. We had that little, or well, maybe still, but with COVID, there's not many not any live shows really. But for that brief period of time, there was some heavy metal in Ada, so
there was.
brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
There was. But before we get off topic, Rod, so Gabe is the last member to join the band, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did that come to be, Gabe?
Well, I've actually been following the band since about 2014 or so, maybe a little bit earlier. I don't know. Going to as many shows as I can. I've always been a big fan of their music, and I got to know them pretty well and hung out with them a few times. They came over to a buddy of mine's house once, and I got to play bass in front of them. So they knew I could play. And, once they decided to do a lineup change, they asked me if I wanted to join, and I've always wanted to be in Enslaved by Fear, so of course I did.
Yeah,
Well,
it was a
who doesn't
no-brainer.
want to be- Yeah, who doesn't want to be enslaved by fear?
I can think of a couple names.
Well, I don't know. I mean, here we are. But what's the name of your first EP and the first album?
The NVEP was the first thing we dropped. It was a 5-track album that we recorded at Session Work Studio down outside of Dallas, Texas.
How'd you get in touch with that studio?
So at the time, a guy that I worked with knew the guy that owned the studio, and the majority of of what that studio had been producing has been, hip hop and rap, and they loved that, but they didn't get any metal coming through. So they sent me a message and was like, "Hey, if you guys would be willing to come down here for a short stint and want to record, we'll cut you a banging deal." And so we're like, we love banging deals, so they jumped all over it.
I'm with you there, brother. Who doesn't all the banging deals, right? Okay.
But yeah, so
okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cooper.
Do what?
No, go ahead. Go ahead,
Oh, okay.
Cooper.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, but I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but from what the other guys have told me, just because that studio, like the production and everything, just because they haven't had any experience with recording metal bands, the quality isn't great.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the best quality. It was at the time, because we had only been a band for. Well, I had only been in the band for maybe 2 or 3 months before we went to do that. Like, we thought it was good quality at the time because it was far beyond what we could do on our own.
Mm-hmm. Now, prior to that, had you had any experience with home recording?
I have, being the old guy in the band. Like I've been in several different bands. I've been in studios a few times, not a whole bunch, but like I had a concept.
But you were familiar with.
Yeah.
You were familiar with it, though. I got you. Okay, cool. So then, so from that first EP, we go into the full length, right? Your first album. Because you
Yeah.
have 3 albums, correct?
Yeah. The next one after that would be American Death Grip.
Produced, I think,
American
at around
Death Grip.
3 years
Okay.
old.
think it came out
Okay, so
2016.
American Death Grip is 3. Oh,
We,
very
I
cool.
think, I believe we
And,
produced that album when the band was around 3 years old.
okay,
American,
so then
we dropped American Death Grip. We did the CD release show at the Vanguard in Tulsa, Friday the 13th of 2015. So we were about 2 years old.
Okay.
Because we did the CD release
so
show
then
and our first tour.
where did you guys tour through or tour at?
We did a 2-week stint. We went through Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. We were supposed to make it into California, but that show dropped. We went to Idaho, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri. It was
Probably
fun.
Illinois.
And who booked that show? Was it just working with local promoters and bookers and connections, or did you have one guy that had helped you with everything?
It was just connections. We were and we are still always down to help bands coming through on tour. You know, when you're not signed to a label and you don't have a big booking agent and you're not touring with national acts, sometimes it's hard to get shows to where people show up, because when you tour somewhere new, obviously you don't have a fan base there. And there's a band by the name of Derail out of Missouri that came through, and we hit it off with them really well. And they're like, we would like to do a tour with you guys, and they set up most of it. They had a sponsor, Dirtbag Clothing at the time, and so it was them and Dirtbag who kind of set that whole thing up. We just kind of tagged along.
I got you. But then through that, though, you kind of learn how like a tour works on both ends, both from the band and from like the booking and promoting it, correct?
Yeah, we learned a lot more than we wanted to learn the hard way on that tour.
I got you. What were some of the good and bad parts about that tour?
I mean, the good parts are the camaraderie that you build with the people you tour with. Like, those are friendships that we still have to this day. Like, those are good people. You make some really good fans, and connecting with people, I think. and just the traveling, the things you see, playing different venues, like that was probably my favorite thing about it. As far as the downsides of it go, like, make sure your vehicle is in good enough working order to make it across the country and back. We had a van and a trailer that we didn't go through properly. We ended up having a blowout in Arizona, sitting on the side of the road for 3 hours because we didn't have a proper jack to jack it up and get the tire off. When we made it into Idaho, we had another flat. No, it was Idaho. It was Pocatello, Idaho. When we took our car to, I think it was like a Meineke or something like that, or Midas tire shop. And we're like, we need new tires. And we take it in. They're like, the reason you need new tires is because your alignment and
Ball joints.
U-joints and ball joints and like all this stuff, they're gone. Like, we can't even do just an alignment because the stuff holding it together is about to fall apart. And man, it was a huge stress. The manager of the place was like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna authorize 3 of my techs to work late today and give you like a 30% off discount just so we can keep you guys on the road.
Well, that's very cool, Louisville.
Oh yeah, I still get goosebumps thinking about, like,
That saved our
people
ass.
understand that, like, hey, you don't want to be in this situation, so let us help you.
Was it that tour that we all
Yeah,
our
for sure.
solenoid wire also went out?
The what?
Was it that tour that our solenoid wire also went out?
Yeah. And the solenoid wire was running up against the block of the motor and fried. That was another stop. We also learned when you're on tour as an independent band to where you don't have a dedicated driver, don't book shows where you have a 14-hour drive between venues. We had to drive from
Right.
Denver, Colorado. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Denver,
We had to
Colorado.
drive. I was just saying we had to drive from Denver, Colorado to St. Louis, Missouri in one jump. Show didn't get done till 2 a.m, and so we drove, taking turns driving all through the night and all day, and we were still an hour late for load-in St. Louis.
Right. Wow, that's okay. So, really, just kind of getting a dedicated driver, making sure you have a good running vehicle. What about like finances, like on the road? That's one thing that people you don't really think about as far as food, where you're going to stay, buying drinks, things like that. Is that where like because I know with some bands what they'll do is when they're going on like an independent tour. Let's say you have 4 guys, everyone pulls a bunch of money together and they say, okay, this is the fund set aside for so on and so forth. Was that something that you guys did, or was it just kind of everybody paid their own and then if someone needed help, you helped them out?
I budgeted the gas for the trip, and then we all kind of like split it 5 ways, and then covered all the gas, and we all kind of just saved up a little bit for our own food.
I got you. Is it and kind of doing a little bit of roadie work for some local bands and just traveling and things like that. One thing people don't realize is you're wherever you stop or wherever you can stop, that's kind of where you have to eat. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
if you stop at a gas station at 2 a.m, you kind of have to eat gas station hot dogs or chips or whatever.
I grew to love gas station hot dogs.
Yeah, I eat those now.
Chili cheese
I
dogs
mean, yeah,
with sour drinks,
there's nothing.
cheap and delicious.
Yeah, because those at CTS those their hot dogs are like 2 for $1, like $1 a piece, something like that. So yeah, man, I'm not complaining on my end.
Oh yeah.
Between that
McDoubles.
and the
Sure.
dollar menus, man.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is going through McDonald's, Burger King of $1 menu items. That's one thing that I miss about live local bands in general. Is this the what you were talking about is the camaraderie, but also you're all stuck in a car together or a van together, and you're touring or you're going to shows, and it's late, but you're having a good time. You're having fun while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, there's nothing better than pulling up to a venue and then being like, "Oh, by the way, we ordered like 10 pizzas for you guys," and then you fall in love because you're like, "Oh, my own personal angel."
There's also something to be
Free
said
beer for them.
There's also something to be said for being stuck in a van with your band for 2 or more
2
weeks
weeks.
at a time, because like you really get tired of each other. But like if you come out of that okay, then like that's a bond that kind of brings you guys even closer.
Remember that one time I almost killed you?
Which time?
No, I yeah, right. I got into a bit of a physical. What was it? I got into a fight with one of my friends when we did like a 4-day stretch all the way down to Austin. So things like that before because you're stuck in a band together and you're on each other's nerves already and tensions boil over. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's definitely tensions.
you spend enough time together, and it's not even rational stuff that you start to get bothered by. You know, somebody could eat a cracker or take a drink of their soda the wrong way, and just like,
Shut up.
Right. Yeah. You want to murder each other. Well,
well, I mean, tensions are gonna run high. It's something that, you know, I don't think people realize often enough is that independent bands without roadies and whatnot doing, you know, between week and 2 week, 3 week long runs and whatnot, they're having to load and unload and set up their gear all on their own, plus the driving and taking turns driving and whatnot. So you don't ever get a good night's sleep. So you get physically and mentally exhausted because everybody who I feel like properly gets on stage and does what they do, like your entertainment aspect, and like Cooper, just doing back-to-back days. You know, the first time was like, wow, my neck and like my back and my legs. It's an endurance trial for the 45 minutes to hour and a half that you're on stage every day without getting enough sleep, with eating garbage food. Like it's real easy to get annoyed.
Mr. BJ, all you eat is bananas.
Mhm.
That's a true story. that first tour we did, it was before we did Backtracks, and we had a buddy of ours fill in for the tour, and this guy is so health conscious, so like he just ate like bananas and fruit the whole tour, and
Looking for the perfect bathroom.
in the perfect
he,
bathroom,
he had
he
to find
couldn't
the
poop.
perfect bathroom to poop in. But by God, I think he found it by the end of the tour.
Oh yeah. You would always know when he found that good bathroom because he'd come out with that smile on his face. It was like, oh,
He
I feel
walked
better. I just unloaded 3 days.
he walked across town to find one.
That's right. Wasn't that in Colorado?
Yeah, I think so.
In Colorado,
Wow.
because Colorado was like the second to last day of the tour, and right next to the venue there was a Vietnamese restaurant, and we're gonna eat good tonight. Well, Vietnamese will also bother your guts if you don't eat it too often. So,
yeah, lesson learned, right?
yeah. No, he found him. He come back happy. He's like, I found this bathroom. You'd have thought that bathroom was gold tiled, man.
Well, hey, man, shout out to that guy.
No,
Kind of, but but moving, kind of moving forward is that the last or the latest album, it looks like, is Stages. When did you guys release that?
I think it was
uh,
just over a year ago.
May of last year, May
Yeah.
2019.
yeah, that was right after Cooper
Okay.
joined the band.
Right before Oklahoma.
Yeah, right before Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, and that was another thing that we can get into. Is I noticed that you guys, kind of reading a little bit about your band, I noticed that you guys had played almost several times. We can get into a little bit of that, just wherever you want to pick up at. Maybe the first year that you guys did Rocklahoma.
There was we were 3 months into being a band, and they started posting up this battle of the bands where it was going to be uh, like a 2 or 3 night deal, different bands playing each night, and the winners
Mm-hmm.
of each night would get a spot on the access stage out at Rocklahoma. And so we're like, hey, we'll give it a shot, and we won, and that was that night. Winning was definitely epic, like a milestone for us, being the new guys in Tulsa and having people like, I won't say her name, but a lady showed up to the show for a different band because her brother was in that band, but was impressed enough that she gave us her vote.
There's actually a video of that night on
Wow,
YouTube.
over her own brother.
Over her own brother, because the stipulation for the Battle of Bands is you had to be there in person to vote. There was no online stuff, so that made it extra special. And there is a video somewhere on the Facebooks of when they announced the winner, and you would have thought that there was 200-300 people in there cheering for us, but it was like 20 people. They were just real loud.
Right. Well, yeah, there you go. Well, so you guys get that, and that was you played Rocklahoma the first year in 2014, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rocklahoma
And then
2014 was
then
epic.
2016, and then yeah, well, yeah, let's get into a little bit of that. What was kind of the first your first overall impressions playing in a festival that large?
Oh,
Nerves.
for don't trust fans when they offer you party favors, Tony.
Yeah.
Being the new guys that we were
Was
like,
it
well, we were the first band to play that Friday. Like we played at noon on Friday, and we were
Mhm.
new. Hardly anybody knew of us, and we had a large crowd. There was definitely nerves, I think, for everybody involved. But we, you know, you go out there and you put everything you got on the stage, and then when you get done, you can kind of woosah. And so we got done, and there were autograph signings, and we sold a bang load of merch, and fans are like, "Hey, let me get you a beer or something or whatnot." And sometimes that can bite you in the butt, huh, Tony?
Yeah, so I was about like 6 years younger and a little naive, and so we went to a fan's campsite, and he was like, "Please come have a drink with us," you know. And so we get there, and we crack open a beer, and we got a little bit of time to hang out before our interview later in the day. And one of this guy, he whips out his pipe, and he's like, "Man, we would be honored." And that was a big word to use too. Like he's like, "We'd be honored if you would smoke with us." And I was just like, I almost felt obligated. I was like, "Oh man, I guess one hit won't hurt." And so I watched him load this bowl up, and like he he puts like this stuff in there that I've never seen before. Wax. He coats the inside of the bowl with wax, and then puts his flour in there, and then loads this powder stuff up on top of it that I've also never seen before. And turns out he was feeding me the most potent bowl of weed that I to this day have ever seen. Um, but yeah, I only took one hit, and I was like, all right, I gotta go. There's people beckoning me, you know. So
Oh,
I left, and I was fine for a solid like 30 minutes, and then I don't remember much.
so I'll fill in the gaps there. After that 30 minutes, we were supposed to be in the media tent backstage back behind the main stage to go do interviews with, you know, radio stations, magazines, stuff like that. And we can't find Tony. And then we do find Tony, and he can't even hardly open his eyes. And we start dragging him back there, and he's lost his laminate to get backstage. So we kind of had to cheat the system to get him back there. And we start doing interviews and whatnot. And he was almost non existent. Anytime they would address him, he's like, "Huh, what?" I don't think he answered a single question the probably 2 hours we were back there doing interviews. And he also missed out on some cool stuff. Like we got to meet Danny Warsnot back there, and his whole
RJ
band.
Hale.
RJ Hale was back there. Lizzie, not Lizzie Hale.
We didn't
What's her
meet
name? Pretty
Lizzie.
Reckless.
Taylor Momsen.
Yeah, Taylor Momsen was back there. We got to meet Zoltan, the guitarist for Five Finger Death Punch. Like it was pretty surreal getting to meet so many cool people.
And he missed out because he took some party favors.
Yeah. He's like, oh, one is not gonna hurt.
Yet another lesson learned the hard way.
Well, I have a similar story. I booked a show at the Blue Notes with Crowbone, Diesel Beast, and O'Brien. Really excited about the show because Crowbone and Diesel are very similar power metal bands, but they've never played. So they play the show. Everything's going good. My friend Jessica is like, "Hey, I have this edible," and I was like, "I've taken edibles before, no problem." She gives me this, this gummy, and then kind of the same thing is like I don't remember much, and then I remembered like I opened my eyes and I feel like I'm just like floating in like tall patches of grass, like there's tall grass all around me. I'm just like floating. Everyone turns into like forest animals, like the trees from Lord of the Rings. Then pretty soon everything sucks in, and then it clicks, and then like I'm standing right in front of the stage while I think crying, and I like lost track of about 40 minutes. But from what I was told was I was a very talkative 40 minutes. Also, there was I had to go use the bathroom at one point, so I'm standing there waiting for the stall to open because if anyone that's been in the bathroom is there's this trough and there's this stall, so people were the bathroom was full, so I was waiting on my turn, and then some fucking dude walks by and's like, "Hey man, why are you waiting on everybody? You should just go over there and like." Bum rush everybody. You should pee on everybody. And I was like, what? I was like, that's fucking weird. And he was like, oh, what's weird is like you wouldn't do it. And he's like, and then there was like something else. So then he leaves, and then I'm just like, yeah, man, fuck you. But it like 2 minutes had passed since that first guy came by. So this other guy that was walking by, he just hears me say, yeah, well, fuck you. And he's like, well, fuck you. And then we just like have the standoff, and then he goes away, and then that was it. And then because later on, at the end of the night, I kept seeing some dude look over at me, and he kept looking over at me, and I was like, "What the fuck's this guy's problem?" But later on, a friend of mine kind of filled in the gaps, and yeah, so I was like, "Oh, that guy's mad because he thought I told him to fuck off." Yeah, so I feel your pain there, my man, about the smoking pot, and then you just wake the fuck up and you don't know what's going on. So
It's
I
dangerous.
swore off pot around any of my music business.
oh, for sure. So so you guys play Rocklahoma in 2016 and in 2019. Can you talk about either one of those experiences? Was it different? Did you guys graduate to a different stage? What was going on?
16 was the same stage, but we played at night, and the crowd was so much bigger. The light show was phenomenal. We sounded amazing.
Yeah, we were the
Definitely
first
better.
band to play. I think it was Saturday night, and we were the first band to play when the
Like
main stage finished.
like after the
And
Scorpions, I think.
yeah, so
Oh, cool.
Scorpions headlined that night, and then we played after them on the access stage. And there's video of that out there too. We probably had 4,000 people plus at that
Mhm.
stage that night, and that's, I mean, you already exert energy, in front of a 20-person crowd. So looking out and seeing 4,000 people, there was a moment where I got choked up on stage because it was my first experience, one of my first experiences, where I look out into the crowd from behind my drum set and I see people that I don't know singing along,
Mhm.
and like that hit me really hard. I'm like, that's a sign of success. Like we've done something at
Mhm.
this point. So I mean, that's that. that makes you put out so much more energy. I thought I broke my neck that night.
It's true.
Wow.
Feeding off the crowd is a real thing. Quick sidebar. Just I want to apologize in advance. Gabe had to leave. He didn't want to interrupt that story. But he had to go.
Oh, well, but well, shout out to Gabe. Thanks, Gabe, for being on the podcast. Whenever you're
We at least
listening.
got to introduce him. So
Yeah.
Gabe is an awesome dude.
Mhm.
He is so quiet, like
yeah,
always.
very very reserved. It's like
It's
he's just such a sweet little angel.
he really is. It's not just he's not microphone shy. He's just like never asserts himself in a conversation. Even at band practice, we'll be practicing and whatnot. We'll be talking about something in between the songs, and we'll have to prompt him and be like, "Hey, Gabe, poke, what do you think?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sounds great."
There you go. Well, very cool. Well, thanks, Gabe, for being on the show. But kind of moving forward a little bit, you guys go to 2019. So this was probably about a year ago before all the COVID and everything. What was that experience like from 2016 and 2014?
That was okay. So Rocklahoma 2019 was my third show with the band. And you see, Enslaved by Fear is my first band I've ever been in. Like, first band I've been an official member of. I mean, hardly ever even really played live prior to joining Enslaved by Fear. So, like, the two bar shows we played prior to Rocklahoma, like, I was nervous for those. Like, Rocklahoma, like, I mean, you know, I mean, I felt like the whole entire time, like, leading up to our set top, I just felt like I was going to throw up. Just because, I mean, I'm a naturally, like I have stage fright anyways to begin with, so yeah, I was very nervous.
But he made such a statement. Like when we were in the lineup, we had pre-staged all our gear. The band before us was on the stage. I'll never forget. I walk over and Coop's like sitting in a corner, and he's like kind of pacing back and forth and shifting between feet and kind of swaying a little bit. And the nervousness on a big show, like I don't know if it ever wears off. I still get nervous, and you know I've been doing this longer than any of us, and like, you okay? He's like, you got butterflies, and he's like, a bit. But he got up there, and as soon as the first note of the first song hit, the hair started to fly, and he made a statement like, this is me and I'm here to stay. He had such an energy that like people who have been longtime fans of the band were like, keep a hold of this guy. He is awesome.
Oh yeah, no, Cooper's great. He actually played with some friends of his, but he played at Vintage 22. I think before he was 21. He played at Vintage 22 with the band called Elevator to Earth, and he was so great. He was amazing.
Yeah. That's yeah. So since I wasn't 21, I just had to kind of lay low so I wouldn't get ID'd. But yeah, it was like that show. They had that band had lost a member. They lost one of their guitar players, so they decided to just do a much more like low key kind of acoustic set. But the last song of their set, they like had some leads that they needed to be filled in there. So so I had like 5 days just to like learn this song. And yeah, so I did that, and it was a fun time.
Because Cooper is such a natural talent. Like he showed up early to band practice one time, real early on, and you know he's Tristan and him had talked, and he's like, "You're gonna do this solo," and Cooper's like, "Cool," and so he shows up and he like plugs in his earbuds, and he's standing over his amp for like 5 minutes, and then he's like, "All right, let's go," and he has it learned and plays it flawlessly. I'm like, I don't like you sometimes. It's not fair.
It's not fair. He's that talented.
Uh-huh. I mean, he's talented because he put in that work, but still, Really? 5 minutes?
Oh, for sure. No, Cooper's great. In addition to being a all-around great guy and a awesome guitarist, he's a very sweet-natured person. So I always appreciate that about you, Cooper. You're always generally nice, and in a scene with sometimes people aren't the nicest, or sometimes people take advantage, but you never did. So congrats to you, my man.
I'm glad you got that money that I PayPal'd you to say all this stuff
Yeah.
stuff while we're recording.
Yeah, that whole 84 cents. Yeah, thanks. No, thanks, Cooper. No, um, very cool. And then, so kind of like as we wrap up here, maybe besides the not counting the Rocklahoma shows, what were some more of your favorite shows that you've played and favorite venues as well?
For me, I'd have to say the Vanguard's my favorite venue that we've played because it's big enough that when you have a sold out or packed crowd, you still get the thousands of people feel from it. And we've had the opportunity to play with a lot of really good bands there. We played with Trivium when Cooper discovered us. We got to play with Phineas and War of Ages and
Upon a Burning Body.
Upon a Burning Body, which was phenomenal. We got the call about the Upon a Burning Body show while we were on that first tour, and like made friends with those guys too. Like they're awesome. And anytime we go into Texas, oftentimes we'll see them. Who else was it? For Today, the Palisades, Color Morale.
Yeah.
So I think that's been some of our best shows have been at the Vanguard.
Very cool. What's that? And you mentioned Texas. What's that? What are some of your more favorite venues to play in, like Texas?
Oh, what's that one we played in Deep Ellum?
It'll probably be Wits End, if I had to guess.
I think it's like the Green Room or something. Like right up the road from there, there's a like restaurant bar thing where Dimebag Daryl from Pantera's wife or girlfriend worked. Deep Ellum has a hardcore good music scene.
Yeah,
I don't know.
well, yeah, you had mentioned Vellum. Anyone that, whenever COVID clears up or shit gets better, whatever, we start having live music again. Vellum is definitely a place that anyone should check out. They have like bars and menus all up and down the strip. Which it is a pretty stellar place to play. And then even in like Denton and Louisville, JJ's Pizza, with the old dirty basement. So just that whole area is awesome as far as live music. I know a lot of the local talent is stellar. Some really good friends of mine play around that area. Shout outs to Diesel Beast and Monogamizer and Silver Tongue Devil and all those guys. So.
Right. San Antonio also. I wish I could remember the name of the venue we played there. It was Paolo and Steve Tennant, who are now within the Ruins. Steve Tennant, when he was with Silence the Messenger, did guest vocals on the title track of American Death Grip.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only place we've ever done that live was in San Antonio because that's where those guys are from. It's where Upon a Burning Body is from. Like those guys grew up together, those two bands. So like they have a slamming metal scene out there too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think just and I've heard really good things about Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Denton, Louisville. You know, and even in Oklahoma, you know, you have Oklahoma City, you have Tulsa, obviously. Here for a little bit as for a small town, we had a little thing going, but hopefully we can get back to form pretty soon. But yeah, just kind of all over, and places you typically think would be you know, producing a lot of country bands. You have a lot of heavy metal bands, you know, metalcore bands, hardcore bands.
Oh yeah.
A lot of really good shit. And speaking of playing shows and stuff, you guys have a show coming up on the 28th. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's at,
Go ahead, Coop.
yeah, it's at Badass Renee's. We just got some news because of COVID. Stit put out a new order. Bars and restaurants have to close by 11 p.m. So it will now be a pretty early show. Show starts at 7 now, but yeah, it's at Badass Renee's 28th. Gonna be us, Sprout the Anti-Hero, Escape Control, and Spook. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun time.
I believe it's like the 5th birthday of the venue.
Yeah, it's the Badass Renee's 5th anniversary. So
Very cool. And you guys play last. Where in the order do you guys play?
I think 2nd.
We are 2nd in the order. We start. Our set time is supposed to start at 7:59.
Okay, so just right before 8. So anyone that wants to go there, they should stay there. They should go for the first band and stay for the ending bands. But yeah, if they want to catch your set, 8 o'clock. Do you guys got merch or anything at the show or anything? Any merch online?
We don't have anything online at the moment. We will have merch there. We got CDs and T-shirts, and I think we got 1 or 2 hoodies left. So it's definitely hoodie season. So if you want one of those, now's the time to get it.
Yeah, before they become a collector's item. So there you go.
That'd
Yeah.
be the dream, right?
Yeah. Well, I plan on being there. So
no, wait,
this
really?
yeah. So that's the plan. I think now I don't know who it is, but Mish is dating one of you guys.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that's me. She's dating the bassist singer.
Well, there you go. Well, hey. So but yeah, she invited me to your show, so I plan on being there.
It's awesome. I
Awesome.
haven't seen you in so long, Jesse.
I know.
It'll be good to see you.
You as well, Cooper. And I get to meet all you guys in person, so that'd be fun.
Photo op.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Photo op. So
Cooper might kiss you, you know, do a little butt stuff.
yeah, who knows? We'll see. You know what? What happens in Tulsa stays in Tulsa. So
Damn
Right.
right.
Oh, that reminds me of our Vegas story. Maybe another time for that.
Oh my lord.
we'll do that on the after hours show.
There we go.
There you go.
That's
All right.
definitely an after-hours show story.
But all right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you being on the podcast. You know, Cooper has talked a lot about the bands, and I thought if Cooper is a part of this band, he's got some good taste. So, and I was checking out some of your music earlier. I was actually listening to your song "The Hiatus," which you guys have a lyric video for, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, awesome, very cool. And where can people find your music?
Funny
Mostly
story.
on YouTube. I just uploaded it all yesterday to be distributed through YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Apple Music, all the big stuff.
We had a problem with our previous like online music distributor.
Distributor.
So it all got taken down somehow, but it will be back up soon. So
On basically all streaming services, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Even TikTok.
Oh, very cool. So yeah, for all you TikTok tickers, if you go out there and TikTok tickers, you can TikTok to Enslaved by Fear. So
Watch the
I
hard
would
R.
love it if
Talk
we became a
tickers.
meme. I would love it if we became a meme on TikTok.
Oh my lord.
8-year-old dancing and lip syncing
Enslaved
to
by
us.
memes.
Enslaved by memes.
But all right, guys. And you guys, are you guys on Instagram or is it just Facebook?
We are on
Both.
Instagram. It's at Enslaved by Fear Band. So
Very cool. So anybody that
And
wants to check
Facebook.
you out, yeah. So people can check you out on Facebook. They can check it out on Instagram.
We have a
Once everything goes
Twitter.
through, and Twitter. Oh,
Active
okay.
on it,
Oh, okay. Did you?
but we can't be.
Oh, go ahead, Cooper.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that Twitter account hasn't been active for a while. I don't know if any of us even have access to it anymore, though. That's the
It
thing.
should be the same old login, so I'm sure I could log in. I might try it right now, actually.
So the band, yes, technically does have a Twitter account, but it's currently not active.
Not
So.
up to date.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
there you
make
go.
a trash post real quick.
But all right, guys. But again, I appreciate you being on the show. For anyone listening that wants to follow this show, we just now started up season 2. I believe this will be either the first or second episode. You can, as always, you can follow us on Facebook, Needless Potatoes Podcast on Facebook, on Instagram, and you can check us out on Spotify, literally any of the streaming sites, and you can check us out on YouTube as well. Tentatively, we should be getting back to our regular schedule, but kind of as we trudge forward, we'll figure that out. But yep. All right, guys. Well, that's been it for me. I've been Jesse White Deer of the Needless Potatoes Podcast, and you guys have been
Enslaved by Fear!
Enslaved by Fear.